do it. Alright guys. What does maximum mean? Slope is 0. Slope is 0 when x equals 0. Is everybody cool with that? Differentiate once. So slope is the first derivative. And what is the first derivative? 3 to the front. 3ax squared, 2 to the front. C. And then d disappears, doesn't it? For argument's sake, while I'm here, what's the second derivative? 2 to the front, what do we get? Differentiate 2bx, and what do we get? Differentiate the c, and we're good to go, aren't we? Now, what does it say specifically here? That if I sub in x equals 0, that's the location of the minimum, or sorry, the maximum, and that means there's no slope. So if I sub in 0 for x, that means the answer will have to equal, the answer will equal 0, won't it? Because it has no slope. What does that tell you about your c value? Who got the c value as 0? Right, good man. Now, the next thing. Right. The next thing is the second derivative. The point of inflection, what's the rule for the point of inflection? Second derivative equals 0. So what does that, what's the x value that causes it to go to 0? 1. Sub in 1 and what do we get? Plus. So what formula is that? 6a plus 2b equals 0. Here's an interesting question for you, right? Do you know simultaneous equations we taught you in first year? Yeah? Something like this. Everybody happy with that? How many letters do I have? 2. How many equations do I have? 2. But that logic, how many letters do I have? How many equations do I need? 4. How many equations have I got so far? So I've already used up the information. Point of inflection, haven't I? I've already used up the information maximum point. You should know where the next information comes from because we did a rip-off question of this yesterday. How did you finish this off? I need 4 of them. I only have 2 of them. Where do I get the other 2 from?
You divide that by 2, so you turn to 3a plus b equals 0, and then take the other equation, which is minus a minus b equals 4.
Okay, now here's the problem, right? I'm not disagreeing with you, but the problem is you never told me how to get the other equation.
I already got it.
Oh, good man.
Thanks for telling
Thanks for telling
us.
us, Joe. Now, lads, what you got to understand is that this equation at the very beginning, it will give you any y value for any x value. So what do we know is a point on the circle? 0, 4. The y value is 4 when the x value is 0. And what does that mean? What's that mean about the d value? There you go. That's the third equation you've used. Now you're about to use your fourth equation. What other point do we know on the line? We know 1, 0. What does that mean?
X is 0, 1,
0. And then? What do we know about d? 4. And what do we get in this equation? Oh, we know c is 0, don't we? So that's gone as well, isn't it? So what do we have then? 0 equals a plus b equals 4. And I'm in agreement with what Joe said earlier.
No, -4.
Oh, it is when you move the 4 over to your side, it's -4. Good man, Queeveen. Did you get this one out last night? Queeveen?
I wasn't in yesterday.
Yeah.
I was there yesterday.
Alright. Do you see the two of them? See the two yellow ones? What can I do there? I'm going to multiply this by negative. Better get A equals 2. And if we get A equals 2, what does that mean about B? 2 plus what gives you -4? B is going to have to be -6, isn't it? To make that work. Alright. I think I could do it, son. Now, alright. Next one. Show that the graph has no turning points or points of inflection. Use the algebra to illustrate this. Okay. So, you guys don't really have... Alright, just give me a sec. Because we're a part of the Casio Master Race. Here we go, we can do this. Now, what's the original function, lads? What in the question, what does it say? X divided by?
X plus 2.
Okay, now look at that. Okay, I'm going to zoom out. Shh. Okay, we're going to drag it out a bit. Drag it across. What do we see is going on here? It's always going upwards, isn't it? This one's always going upwards. And then this one is always going upwards. Why does it switch around all of a sudden? What value is it not allowed to be? No, it's not 0. It's clearly -2. Why is x not allowed to be -2? Why isn't x allowed to be -2, lads? What's -2 plus 2? Can't have 0 on the bottom. That's why it's not defined there. Now, if you were to throw that into your table function, okay, and you're just going, no bother, I'll just go x divided by x plus 2, and you're just going to have a quick look at your values. Let's start at -20 and go up to 0 to begin. What are you noticing about your numbers? They're on the way up, aren't they? It's slowly on its way up. So it kept rising then, and there was no turning points. And then when you go -1, 0, okay? -1 to 0 is on its way up as well. Okay? And then if you redo this from 0 up to +20, what you're noticing is that it keeps getting larger. 0.6, 0.66, 0.7, 0.75. It's always rising upwards, okay? So let's show that it has no turning points. Ready? For a turning point, what's the rule for a turning point? The slope will have to equal 0. I cannot see a single point where this slope is 0. It looks very close to 0 when it becomes really flat. It's close to being 0, but it never quite becomes 0. It's like having a really, really small slant, okay? It's not completely flat, alright? So, what we're thinking is, it can never ever be 0. So let's find out. What type of rule should I use for this?
Quotient.
Right, u is x du dx. 1 v
X plus 2.
to v dx. 1. Quotient rule. V times du dx minus u times the v dx all over. Okay? What happens to the top? What's x plus 2 take away x? 2. Okay? Everybody cool with that? Can you solve that equal to 0? What happens when you cross multiply this up? What's 0 times anything?
0.
2 does not equal 0. This means there's no solutions for this question. Therefore, there's no turning points. You cool with that? No solutions equals no turning points. Now, we're going to differentiate it a second time to show that there's no point of inflection. You could do the quotient rule again. I'm lazier than that. What am I going to do? Everybody see what I did there?
Oh,
I used the negative power rule. Are you sure you follow me?
I
Yeah,
follow.
of course.
Okay. I'm going to use the chain rule. Minus 2 by 2. Minus 4. Take 1 away from the power.
That's three.
Differentiate what's in the brackets. 1. And what's this turn into? Minus 4 over x plus 2 divided by minus 3. Now once again, for the point of inflection, what does the second derivative equal? What does the second derivative equal for the point of inflection? And when I was going to cross multiply sorry, it's a plus 3. When I was going to cross multiply the denominator up, minus 4 does not equal 0. No point of inflection either. Yes?
What is a point of inflection?
So the analogy I used the last day was if you're a Formula 1 driver, do you know what chicane is in Formula 1?
What's the chicane?
It's like a straight or a bend.
It's going from a right bend to a left bend, okay? And the concave. So when you're a Formula 1 driver, you experience that when you travel around the corner. We'll call this the Aston Martin here. I watch way too much Formula 1 these days. You experience the force slinging you outwards, and then you reach a point at which it straightens up for a second. That's your point of inflection. And then all of a sudden, when you turn the next corner in your green car, you're getting forced the other way. It's like you're sliding outwards. So that's the point of inflection, is the point at which you experience no force either direction. So it means there's a change in the way the slope is changing. Okay, the slope is really steep, which means it's getting more negative, and then it starts to become more positive because it's starting to turn. That's what the point of inflection is. Is that right? And to find the point of inflection, it's always the second derivative equals 0. You should watch Drive to Survive. It's good.
We should. Second class.
Second class, I wish. Oh, okay. Oh, my head. Now, this one. Okay. Turning point. What's a turning point?
Just like maximum interval,
And how do you find turning points?
and the slope equals 0.
Slope equals 0. Slope is first derivative. First derivative. I'm going to change that into ax minus 2 because I'm lazy. Okay? And what do we do there? What's x squared when you differentiate it? And what's ax minus 2 when you differentiate it? 2ax minus 3. What does it guarantee us? That the slope is 0 when the x value is 2. So replace it with 2. Now, what's 2 times 2? 4. What's 2 to the power minus 3? It's 1 over 8. And what's minus 2 multiplied by 1 over 8? You guys will use the calculator. Yes, you will. For anybody listening at home, they should not be trusted without the calculator. They'll just mess it up. Minus a quarter, good with you guys? Now, what you do next, lads? A quarter A equals 4, A equals 16. Who got that? Who got that? 16. Yeah. Now, show that has no local maximum point. No bother. If it has no local maximum, what's the criteria for our maximum again? The first derivative is 2x, and then minus 2 by 16, x minus 3, correct? Now, what's the deal? The second derivative has to be smaller than 0. Let's get the second derivative. What do we get here? 2. 3 times 32? x minus 4. Okay? And alrighty. I'm thinking.
Plus 96. Is it not plus 96?
It is plus 96. Thank you. That saved me. Right? The more than you know, that saved me. Right? I was looking at it going, why can't I do this? And now I'm all good. Okay? Now, here's what we're going to change this to. Is everybody happy with that? Okay? But I need to change something else. Why is x to the power of 4 always positive? Why is it always positive?
Because it's a power.
No. X to the power of 3 is able to be negative. What happens if we sub in minus 3 cubed? What will I get? Yeah. Even power, exactly. Now, Comiskey, we're going to change it into this. We're going to change it into x squared, 2b squared. Any number divided by a perfect square is a positive number. Two positive numbers added together will always be bigger than 0. No, max. Because it will never be less than 0. Is that okay? Tricky question, right? Who got that one out?
Joe.
Yeah, of course, don't need to ask.
Just Joe.
Alright, this one. A diesel lorry is driven to Limerick to Galway at a steady speed of 3 kilometers per hour. The total cost of the journey C is given by the following function. Find the value of V for which C is a minimum.
Like 0 says.
The word minimum, what does that mean? Slope is equal to 0. Okay? How do you get the slope?
Differentiate.
Yeah, you're absolutely geniuses. When you're in the differentiation section of the course, you should probably differentiate. What is the first derivative? What letter should I use? The C. What letter's over the other side?
V.
The V. Minus 1,400 v to the minus 2. And 2/7. And that answer is 0. Okay? While I'm here, and before I progress with this question, I'm going to get the second derivative really quickly. What do I do with the minus 2? Bring it forward to the 1,400, and what do I get?
2008.
Take 1 away from the power.
Minus 4.
Okay. And 2/7. Gone. Thank you. Now, next thing. What are you looking at there, man?
This calculator doesn't work.
Okay. Now, we get 2/7 equals 1,400 phi minus 2. What do I do with the phi minus 2? What do I get with the phi minus 2? Phi squared. Is that cool, you guys? What can I do with the phi squared? What location will I bring it to? 7 times 1,400 or 1,400?
5,900.
Sure it is, yeah. Divided by 2. Square root it. We kill. Phi is 70. And that is the answer for the first question. Prove it's a minimum. How do you prove it's a minimum? Second derivative, yeah? And the second derivative is this here, which is 2,800 divided by phi cubed. What's the phi value it wants us to check out? What's the phi value it wants us to check out?
70.
Is this a positive or a negative number? You let me know when you have an idea. Greater than 0. It's a min. How much does it cost to travel at 70? Is it 70 kilometers an hour? How much does it cost to travel at 70 kilometers an hour? Let's find out. 70. 2 times 70? 140. 1,400 divided by 70? 20. 140 divided by 7? €40.